Good evening. This is Norma Cowie here for my third evening on mental mind treatments. I'm a couple of minutes early coming on live, just getting ready and sorted out. I've had 2 weeks behind now of doing this, and I'm still a little nervous when I come in to do this because it's very different than just talking like I usually do on Wednesdays and or Sunday. But I have put my reverend hat on. I am a registered minister with the Canadian International Metaphysical Ministry. I studied in Vancouver at a spiritual center for 8 years until I became actually a minister for a short time with that organization, the main organization, which has changed its name now. But I really learned a great deal about the power of prayer and how prayer can work. With the technique that I used was from the learnings or the teachings, I should say, of Dr. Ernest Holmes, and he wrote a book. And anyway, the practice of prayers really is an important step, I think. I always wanted to know how to pray in an effective way, not plead or ask for a resolution or for a miracle or whatever. And when I ran into the system, which was called spiritual mind treatment, and I just calling them mental mind treatments because I quite often add some of my own awareness and my own everything involved in that. And so I'm offering this time every Monday night to be able to do mental mind treatments for people that wanted to come in and put it in. What I ask for is your name and your first name anyway, and preferably your age. And the question, and why I ask that is because I've got to tune into you. And because of the way the live is set up, I can't see your face and I can't hear your voice, the two things I would use normally to connect. But I wanted to really touch what I know and to help people this way. And I have my first person in, which is a person that I really came in last week, which was wonderful. And thank you for being back, Karen. I read here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to slow down a little bit because I got a little bit, people were clicking in last week and I must admit, I kind of got a little jumpy and I probably went a little too fast. And I'm quite willing to stay longer. I was on for half an hour, missed some people because of that. So I really do want to go through till, if I can, as long as I can. So Karen, as I read this, she says, "Hi, Norma, I'm ready to make better choices and decisions." And she gives me her age too, which is always nice because then it's easier to move in. If you do put up your second name, I'm going to say your final name, your surname, I won't mention that. But it's for my own tuning in and being able to do that. So what I'm going to do here is I tune in and just offer this mental mind treatment for Karen on this day, which, believe it or not, it's the 24th of January already. It seems like January usually to me is always a slow month. This time seems like a very fast month. So here we go. I close my eyes and I go because I've got to go in to really connect in here. So knowing that there is one power and one essence, I speak my word for Karen in being able to make better choices and decisions. Now, I know that the light that shines within is reflected outward if we allow it. I also know that when we rely on our mental abilities, which are very wonderful to have, to sort everything out, that very often we miss the main thing that helps us to decide or know the direction. And what my sense here is, as I see the energy coming into you, is that you don't listen, basically. Whether you call it your high self, whether you call it divine guidance, it's all very similar in that you get guidance, but you refute it because of the mental application that you have, the mental ability that moves in and kind of overthinks everything, try and sorts it out, trying to have it make sense and feel like, yes, this is right. But in the same thing as the energy is given to you, and as it's given to you, it's about accepting of that. And the key is to listen to that inner voice, that inner knowing, so that you know. When I always say, when you know that you know in your gut, that's what exactly you need to do or to have or to be. And in that knowingness, as you move that through, if you begin to incorporate in that, it becomes really clear, and it's clarity, and it's equal ease to move forward. And so in the knowing that the clarity is there, if you listen and not try to overthink it and try to make it perfect or right and be exactly, as we sometimes we ask for these things, but then we have an idea of how it's supposed to look. And so we actually move into not looking because we don't allow it in. So I give thanks in knowing that the divine has given us the answer, is to be really listening to that inner knowing, whether it comes from your high self, divine because you asked, the divine essence, as I call it, and allow that to move in. Then would you please move the insight into the essence of who you are? I give thanks in knowing for Karen, that this is a matter of really listening to the inner and not the mind. Allowing the inner to give you the answers or give you the next step so that you can go towards your answers. So I release this thought out into the universe, knowing that this is true for Karen, that there is better choices because of you listening. And in the gratitude that I feel about that, I am totally 100% pleased in releasing this, knowing it's true for you, Karen, that not only do you have better choices and decisions, but that clarity that comes with that is superb. And so I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. So you can let me know later on as I work at being able to learn how to, because I don't have a moderator, which I don't know, because I'm so new at this part of it. I'm going to work through as people come on in. So thank you. So we have another Kayla, and her question is, would you please give me my insight and treat for the ending of these cluster headaches? I'm just making a note so I know during the week when I do also check in daily for people. So I'm just going to put down cluster headaches so I know what it is. And okay. Divine Essence, Mother, Father, Son is one. I'm doing a prayer on behalf of Kayla in knowing it's what it give me insight. I'm going to actually work for the ending of these, what I get for this. It's like the insight is to be able to have the end of what is creating this. So the end of the stress and strain that goes on. So as I move into the universal love, as I connect with that divine essence, as I call it, I know the love for Kayla is just phenomenal amount of universal love that is sent and forwarded. But there is this part that just brings about I'm just going to look for the words for a moment. It's as though I can see it by just putting it into words. It's as though there's it's like an umbrella almost in a way that blocks out the lovingness for all parts within the head. And it's not the whole head. It's just a part of it, as I can feel it. If you can see me here, it's up here somewhere, which would be over. I don't know if I got the right side, but it would be my left, over the left part of my head, coming in kind of at a right angle. I can see that umbrella that comes in there. And how I sense that is that there is a tremendous fear right at the very bottom of accepting universal love force completely. There is a deep, deep, deep guilt that resides. And in that guilt is the fear of not being enough or doing enough or having enough or creating enough or being enough. It has a lot to do about enoughness. And so no matter what you try and what you do and how much you give, it's really about accepting the love fully 100% within the self. So that this very, very deep-seated fear, I feel like it's even smaller than a dime, actually. But it's enough to set up when it comes into the universal love. For I know that you know this love, and everywhere else it's felt except this little wee piece that's down, way deep down, that maybe you just haven't done sufficient. Maybe you haven't done all that you wanted to do. Maybe you haven't brought forward everything that you want. And I know that in the essence of being, I know that's false. For I know that in the loving of yourself and the allowing of the universal love to go through every fiber of your body, that little dot of fear of not being enough is dispelled, is released, is let go. And as it is released and let go, it's like the might, whatever the might is, comes in of the love. And it's like the body relaxes and all the tension goes. And how I'm seeing it is like a beautiful garden explodes and all colors and all kinds of flowers. And I'm seeing is a garden of creation and love and essence. And it reminds me of the song Hallelujah, all the angels are singing. It's like all the angels sing, because it's like this last little piece that just needs to be released and let go, and the allowing in of this absolute lovingness. It has been shrouded for a long time. It has, and it is old. This piece is old. It's not just something that came along. It's been around for a long, long time. And it's time for it now to be evaporated and right down to the very, very, very core, so that there is no more. It is gone. It is done. It is absolutely released. But mostly it's for you to know and accept the absolute lovingness that the divine has for you, and the place that you have within the, you might want to call it the scheme of life, the essence of the life, how it moves, that there is a place, there is a definite position that says Kayla. And it's allowing and knowing that you do not have to prove, you do not have to state, you do not have to bring all those things together. And it is the knowing of this that in my heart, I am incredibly and truly grateful for Kayla, and knowing that by just letting go and any thought that has anything to do with not being good enough or done enough, etc., is totally dispelled from total system. That includes consciousness, subconsciousness, and every little thought that floats around that suggests that you are not enough. I definitely give thanks in knowing that you have this wonderful sense of knowing and being alive. And so I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Oh, big breath on that one. It's always nice. That's one thing I love about doing these, is because when you move into the wonderful sense of the feeling of that completion, that love, that awareness, that acceptance of self, then it just enhances and brings me in contact with it, which is wonderful too, because I'm like everybody else. I get along within life. Now, remember that if you have a question, or if you want some issue within your mind that you would like to have this mental mind treatment, please just type it out so that I can see it and know what it is that I'm working with. As I say, this month I was doing this trial to see if this would work, if it was something that people wanted and wanted to do. I do for those of you that are not familiar with me, I every Wednesday for over 2 years now, actually it is 2 years today, I started doing what I call Norma Talks, talking on different topics, from my metaphysical background, and they continue it. They go up on YouTube every Wednesday morning, usually around 11 o'clock in the morning. They're up. I also have a Sunday Thought, which what did I say with a Sunday Thought? That's it, a Sunday Thought. It can be on anything, but it's much a shorter talk than on the Wednesday. And now this one, Mental Mind Treatments for Monday nights, for those that are wanting to have a different energy come in and work and understand and everything. Okay, so Patricia has now come on in, and I've got also another note from Karen just left me a note. If I can talk about fear, I can do that. But first of all, I'm going to take a look at what Patricia has to say. I'll just make myself a little note up here. Okay, Patricia, she says, I have scans for tomorrow morning and I'm hoping for good results. Well, we'll definitely hope for good results. Patricia was on my very first week, so I know what. And I'm just making again notes because I do like to do a treatment every day for the people that have been on, so that we can also keep reinforcing whatever it was that I got. I don't keep track of that, but I do want the essence. So let me just speak my word for Patricia. And as I speak my word for Patricia and come into an alignment, for I know there is one power and one essence. And I know that the universal love force is there in completion. I know that their love is being allowed in with every breath that is taken. So Patricia, every time you take a breath and breathe out, it's like you're breathing out. It's like fumes. I'm seeing fumes being left out. So the breathing is really, really important as you breathe in and breathe out all these things that are just being dissolved inside. I trust that these scans really reflect the letting go of the substance that has been blocking these lungs. I know that the universal love force here is slowly, and it is slow. It's not like bang, it's gone, but it's slowly releasing. And it feels like toxins. It feels like dust in the air, just moving out. So the breath for you is very, very important, to keep that breath going and allowing ease. It's about ease. It's about allowing life to be. And I know that in the essence of this, and I move into gratitude that not only can you breathe easily, but that you are releasing that which is inhibited with every breath. Every breath that you say and do and work through is that you are coming more and more into an alignment of the knowing of your true essence self. The beauty of who you are, the wonder of who you are, is being reflected into that breath, so that it can let go of those things that we didn't want to breathe in, hear, know, feel, or experience during the life. All of that which was stored is being released and let go, so that you're becoming free. I know that the scans tomorrow that you are, and so I also putting in here the strength to go for the scans and know that whatever is said to you will be accepted and rejoiced. Rejoiced in the element, they are words, and they will be reflected on how you cope and handle that and be with that and love in that. There is joy within you, always has been, always will be. So let that joy relate to the words that are said to you regarding the scan. I move myself into gratitude of you being able to hear and to know that which you need to know and experience, love, and allow in the essence of time. So we give thanks. We give thanks that we are able to know for ourselves before we even hear results. I give thanks in knowing that the lungs are expelling that which is held on to for a long time. I give thanks in allowing you, Patricia, to be in the moment, to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And as I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. So it is. So we're just going to breathe out and allow yourself to relax, and breathing in and out the old, in the new. And so that, I trust, will be helpful. Thank you. Okay, by God, where are we here? There. Karen Lee is saying, okay, just a second. I can see you now, where they often say for live shows you have moderators. Karen Lee says, I'm feeling an eerie calmness, which is unusual for me. Wondering how I can tell if this is the calm before the storm or indeed calmness. I'm just going to put calmness in here. Okay. I know there is one power and one essence in all things. I know the universal love force is consistently there, and that it is the acceptance of that universal love force into the inner being of us that makes the difference. I know that the calmness that Karen Lee, and I now will speak in the I, as Karen Lee, feel is really a true state of being. That the storms that are anticipated are false. And yet, if you want storms, if you want to have the upheavals, if you want to have all of that, then you can create that, because you are a good and great creator. This is about creation, that you reach to the point of stillness. You can reach to the point of calmness where you feel at one for all that there is. That your fear, again, we get that word fear, is that, oh, this is not going to last. We do not ever really have a state that may go and gone on our everyday regular life. But deep within, when we are connected to the love source, we know it is always there. We can always breathe into it and feel the calmness that is there. There is only one power of love and light. And when you are connected with that love and light, which you are, you allow it to breathe with you, to be with you, to know that you are at one with it all. And all fear of it being any different, it disappears. So when a situation comes into your life, you can connect to that source and know, no matter what, you have the answers for it all. The fear of, the storm, is because you don't think you'll have the answers. But the reality is you do, but you don't trust them. Faith and trust go together. And in having here, we want to increase the faith and trust that you have. We want to increase the belovedness, I'm going to say, of connection, the knowing that this is a co-creation of your world. But when the mental element gets in there, oh my goodness, what this is going to leave, once you have found that connection, you separate, it never goes away. But it's only ever a breath away as you reconnect. And I know that the calmness that you have now is consistent and is always there. It is only ever a breath away and reconnecting. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And so we know and give thanks and gratitude that you have that calmness, that you have that essence inside that says, all is well. Whether it is for a second, a minute, an hour, a day, a month, it is there, it is real. And that's what we build the base on. That's what holds. So therefore, for Karen Lee, I give thanks. I give thanks in the knowing that the calmness exists. I give thanks in knowing that it is real. I give thanks in knowing I can always come to this place and be calm no matter what is occurring in my life. And so I release this thought, knowing it is true for Karen Lee, that the calmness will persist and be there. And so it is. And Karen Lee says also, thanks for taking the time to do this. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now let's talk about, we've got something asking about fear. We have had fear come up, and this is a fear night, obviously. So let's just, because I don't have any other things. Kayla said also, thank you. I must admit, I like having the thank yous because it makes me feel good. I like to feel good. He said, that was amazing in terms of insights and treatment. I am feeling the love deep within, shifting the energy. I'm enough and a being of light and love. And she truly is, because I happen to know this person, and she is. Now, let's talk about fear. What is fear? You know, the acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. So in your mind, it's like the boogeyman, so to speak, is there. Like what? And it's a what ifs, I find. When I get into a fear, what if this and what if that and what if the other? And now some of you and a lot of people that have come on tonight, I do know. So it's like you've possibly heard me say this. I talk about the when you get a thought that you don't want, you hold it, you evaporate it, and then you change the thought. What is important is that you gain command over your mental processes. Now, if you listen to some of my talks, you often hear me talk about this. The mental processes really are important. So when you have a thought that comes along, it's like you grab hold of that and then you evaporate it. And evaporating it, then you replace it, because energy must be replaced. That's why we do mental mind treatments, because what we're doing is I'm doing, because I'm doing them, but you too, is that you're replacing the energy that is holding the thought form in place. Now, when we have a fear that something else may happen, because usually it hasn't happened, we're just afraid it's going to happen. Think of energy. Thoughts which have an energy behind them go out into the world. Excuse me, I have to have a sip of water here, just a sec. And even though you don't necessarily know it, but thought forms are like pictures. It's like a movie show. You put it out and it's fearful, and it looks like the boogeyman out there is out there. Oh my goodness, what if this happens and what if that happens? Now, so all of a sudden, how many of you have experienced things like, oh, I knew this was going to happen? I'm going to tell you a story that I first began to become aware of this. And it's many, many, many years ago when I was really still quite young and just beginning on my path. I was on a bus. And I was sitting behind two ladies talking, and one lady turned to the other. Now, I was quite young at the time. When I say quite young, I still had two kids and was working in goodness knows what else. But I know I wasn't 30 yet. And these ladies were probably in their 50s. And one turned to the other and said, and I've never forgotten this, I've been worrying about this for 10 years, and now it's finally happened. And I had a little smile to myself, because a thought form had been out there for 10 years before it manifested. Can you believe that? I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Oh dear. That's me going to clearing that, I'll tell you. But anyway, yeah. And sometimes when my little heater thing that I've got here in my apartment comes on, I get a little bit of dust, and I do. But there's no heater on at the moment, so I don't know where the dust came up my nose, unless it was the idea of having somebody concentrating. It wouldn't be like every minute of every day, but thinking and figuring for 10 years. And then almost like, oh, I just knew that was going to happen. We forget we create our reality. We've got, if you're in a boat, a sailing boat, you've got the helm. Some people sail, and you take the boat and you steer the boat where you want to go. You steer your life. And sometimes we forget that, because there are a lot of things that happen. And sometimes, as I say, they teach, You create your reality. And what I began to look at when I looked at how much I actually created, most of it I created based because something else had happened. And so we react. So we actually spend our life reacting to whatever's going on. So we're not really creating, we're reacting to whatever it is. I know I'm speaking on that on Wednesday. So, because I have a month, this month has been all about the basics, how we think, how we feel, how we respond, and now how that manifests. So it's like really getting to know what you are putting your thought patterns behind. And some of you today really know the love force. I remember the first time I ran into the love force. That was part of my own journey. I wanted to know God because I'd had some Christian things in there. And as I wanted to know God, I just kept looking to find out. I wanted a prayer treatment, which is where I was led to I didn't know it was a prayer treatment, though. I just wanted an effective way of praying because I didn't like how I was taught how to pray when I was younger. And I ran into what that was called spiritual mind treatment. And I've used that ever since. I wanted to move into to feel this love that people talked about. And the very first time I felt it, it was like above my head. And I went, this has got to come inside. And I spent time making sure that energy came inside. It wasn't just out there. And once I had it inside, then it was just always only ever, as I say, a breath away. I could breathe, let myself sink down into the bulk of my body. And there it was, this love always there, never, ever, ever letting me down. I let it down because I get in my head and start thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. And I just want you to know that each one of you is able to create this love force within you. Once you find it, once you've experienced it, a lot of people, I know the first few times I knew what I was looking for, but I know I connected into it a couple other times, but I was a little fearful because it was unusual. What's all this love, which is absolutely loves you beyond measure, and then all the guilt of who you are and what you are and why aren't you, do you deserve this, came on up. And it's a matter of remembering. I really know that you have so much essence in there to go forward. Now, I've had a couple of comments drop in. Pat says thank you, and I appreciate that. Karen Lee has said, thanks, Norma. I made a decision on Friday and took a leap of faith, and since that decision, I have felt such a state of calmness. Obviously, the correct decision. So trust that. The original Karen says, great wisdom. I'm committing right here, right now, to do what you are sharing every day. I needed some help with this. Blessings. People on the path, and that's what it is. It's a pathway. And it isn't always easy because there's many, many, many levels and aspects and things that, I've spent over 60 years, pretty well 60, not quite 60 years, 55 years anyway, learning different things, putting together, not taking always what somebody said as the absolute, it didn't feel right. And as has been said, I often teach things that most people don't teach. I say things most people don't say because I've taken things from many places, and some I've held on to and still guide me looking at wherever I am and what I'm doing. And I encourage you to go for that part where the divine love. I think everyone I've spoken here tonight knows I do the transformational work, whereas basically clearing out the blocks so you can be at one. And it's still, even though many people have done lots of work, they still have a great resistance to really feeling loved. And sometimes it takes a long time to get right down into that subconscious and pull those deep, deep, deep weeds that say I'm not good enough. But the reality is you would not be here. You would not be listening to me. You would not be even attracted to what I have to say. And so as we haven't had anybody else come in, it's us. over 30 minutes, so I'm still here, but no one new has come in. I really trust and hope that the prayers that I've done today with this mental mind treatment, that not only is it helpful, it sticks. That's what I really want. It sticks, it stays. And in releasing and letting go. And I want to thank you for coming on and being part of this, part of a dream I had, which was I wanted to get something out where people could benefit. So I want to say good night. God bless. Have a great week. I'll be back next Monday for sure. Okay. Bye now.